today, Billy?
My day was...
Ooh. Nice fish, boys. What's going on, everybody? It's Yost here. I haven't done a guide vlog in a while, so we're up at sunny Langara Island. I've been up here for the summer. We've had some incredible fishing. There's a big fish release today, 46 pounder, which is always exciting. So today I am going to run through a little cut plug fishing. If you don't know what cut plug fishing is, we'll run through the basics out here. If you do know cut plug fishing, that's sweet. Maybe we'll show you a few different things that you don't know, a few little tricks. We're just gonna go for evening fish here down a little place called Boulder Bay, which is about 10 minutes from the lodge. Hopefully you get something out of it. And I'm gonna wait for my buddy Stu Skillings here. I'm gonna go pick him up at the dock, and then we're gonna go for a little rip and have a little bit of fun. Go through a little bit of cut plug tips and techniques on this guide vlog. Cheers. The style of fishing that we're doing up here is mooching. And so what we're doing is we're fishing with weight and bait. And I'll give you a little rundown of what we actually are fishing with here. So we're fishing cut plug herring on a mooching rod. We don't fish downriggers, all we do is fish weight and bait. So what we have here is 8 ounces of lead, hook and swivels. And that system alone really does everything that we need it to do up here. We don't bite, banger, bite. So that gear's been in the water for like maybe 30 seconds. And so we're gonna get a bite, back rod, on my cut plug, not Stewie's. It's already gone. Is it? Oh, there you go. There's another bite right here. Oh yeah. There you go. That was pretty quick.
Really quick. Oh, I better go get this one.
Yeah, double header. Well, that's crazy fishing right there. That was literally, we just rolled in here. We've had like a hell of an afternoon in here, and now right away we just rolled in here, had three takes on it. This fish may or may not be here. I'm not really not. Yeah, the fish is still there. So that was like I don't know, that took us 45 seconds. Rolled in right on the kelp here at Boulder, and we just we had 3 baits in the water. We just had all 3 baits go, so that was pretty sweet. So the style of fishing that we're doing, mooching fishing, right? We're fishing single action reels. So this is an Islander reel, this is an MR3. We got it spooled up with 30-pound Maxima, run down to an 8-ounce weight, and we'll show you the setup here in a second of how the weight works. We have a swivel, have a chain swivel, and then we also have a little ball bearing swivel in there as well. And that gets everything just to roll that much better. A 30-pound Maxima leader with 2 Gamakatsu 4/0 hooks. And I'll show you how to tie those here in a second too. But these fish that we get in Langara are literally like fresh off the open ocean. It's kind of one of the crazy parts about this little area and why we can fish this old school style of salmon fishing, is that the open Pacific's right up here. And all these fish that are coming in to Langara literally are coming right off the open ocean. They are in here to feed. And so we got lots of bait here. We got needlefish, we got herring, and there's lots of it right now. We got it all over the place. So fishing's been extra good just because all these fish are coming in to feed on what's here. So the fish bite hard, and they'll bite these weighted baits. This one was at 13 pulls. So you talk about pulls, you talk about from here up to the first eye. So that bait is really only like maybe 15 or 20 feet from the boat. The front rods we fish even shallower, so we're fishing 4 rods out here, and the shallow rods are going to be on a clear day. We look down and we can see that bait spinning down below us. Good. Clean release, gone. Got both hooks back. Fish barbless hooks here in British Columbia, so we got both the hooks back. And that was pretty quick. So we're gonna set up some more gear and get that in the water as quick as we can. Yeah, banger. When we get this bait, there's sort of varying qualities of bait. We get sort of a mix of stuff. We get some small stuff like this. Usually if we get small stuff like that, we'll save it if we're going coho fishing. This one you can see has been sort of almost over brined. You can kind of see where the skin is getting a little tight. It's a better one. But a lot of the time, if it's, you know, if we're just coming out here, we're always gonna look for the best bait. So if you're cut plugging, don't grab the first bait that comes in your hand. Make sure you get in there and find some bait that has sort of the best looking bait. And something like this sort of size and length is gonna spin really well. There's kind of two angles to when we're cut plugging. We got a little angle here, and then we got a little angle here. You get a nice sharp knife, head's gone. You got the inside, this is herring roe right here. And you're just gonna take that knife, twirl it around a few times, and that's all gonna come out. You don't wanna leave the guts in there. You want a nice hollow herring like that. It's gonna help it spin better. So, back to showing you a little bit of what we got in terms of gear. We got Loomis rods here that we're fishing. They're heavy rods. And we got this setup right here that lets us fish a nice long leader. That's sort of the leader length right there. I don't know if you can see it, but this little system right here is just a little bit of surgical tubing, and there's a crib peg in there. And what that allows us to do is it lets us slide that weight up and it'll stay there. And when the fish gets closer to the boat, you get the weight up to the tip. And then people can reel down, and you can reel all the way down to the swivel. This little bead right here is so the surgical tubing doesn't pop out the crib peg or doesn't go over the swivel. And then everyone will run it a little differently, but this is sort of how I run it. I got a ball bearing swivel up front here. I got a little connection, and then what they call bead chain swivel. So 2 hooks like that, right? Again, you got the tow hook, you got the trailer hook. Run the trailer hook into the side, onto the high side of the cut first. I just pull that through and I let that hang. And I take this is sort of just my style, but I'll put it in the low side of the cut on the spine, and I'll get it to come out the high side, and I'll just get it there. I'll get kind of just pull. And then this is your trailer hook. This is going to go down into sort of the back meat here. You're just going to gently pull it in and sort of tuck it out, and that hook's just going to sit out like that. And you just kind of give it a little straighten like this, get everything straightened, and then we'll seal this thing all up. We've been out here for 25 minutes or something now, and so one of the things is some of the time when we're here, these fish are really like in a specific spot. So this is a fairly small little spot that we're mooching, but we just took a little sort of jaunt into the back of Boulder here, and we didn't hit anything. So now we're going to move back out. We're going to get back up on the kelp and sort of where we were first started and where we first hit some fish. We're just going to roll back up there because those fish could just be pocketed in there. There could be a little bit of bait. So one of the tricks that we always do out here when we're guiding is we try to stay on the fish. So if you're coming into a spot and bang, 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 you hit a bunch of fish, and then you kind of get off of that spot and there's nothing, get that boat turned around and try to get back into that space where those fish were. Boulder Bay kelp bed. And that is a big reason why these fish are in here, is that we have this kelp bed that's just in here. Hopefully you can see it. And so all those needlefish and herring and whatever else is getting pushed up into that kelp bed, and that's why these fish are rolling in here on certain tides to feed on that bait that's up there. On a clear day when we're out here, you get the high sun and clear water, you can see the herring that's rolling on the front rods right kind of down in here off the back of the boat somewhere. And that's very often We fish the front rods at 7 and 9 pulls or 9 and 11 pulls. And very often that's where we get some of the bigger fishes off those front rods. They almost swim past the back rods here to eat the bait on the front rods. And what Stewie's doing right now is he's using the boat to maneuver the bait. And that's a real big difference here, is what they kind of call, you know, motor mooching. And so he's using the boat here, and he has the boat in gear, and he's just using this boat, putting some turns on it to keep that bait working down below us. When he does a turn, the outside rods here are going to speed up. The herring's going to start twirling faster, and it's actually going to rise. And the bait on the inside of the turn is going to slow down and drop. And on the inside rods, if you get a bite on a turn, very often it's kind of a flutter bite. It's not a real heavy, hard bite. If you get a bite on the outside rods as the bait's speeding up and lifting, usually that's the harder bite of the two when we're in here. So the space that we're fishing here is really quite small. It's not a big space. You can see some of the bait that's popping on the top of the water right here. So there's lots of bait in here right now. And we're just kind of fishing a little area here that is maybe just the size of a football field. Bite. So there's a bite right here. The fish it's a slow bite. You can see him, Stewie's waiting for it, and he's gonna wait for that fish to commit to the herring. And then he's gonna miss it. Yeah. So that fish, sometimes because these baits all so close together, that fish has come back to this one here and hit it. And there you go. That's how you set them, and that's how you do it. And I'll give that to Stewie because he sucks at fishing and he can play this one because I'm a nice guy. Well, there's another bite. That was a big bite. That thing ate it hard. Oh yeah. Oh, triple header. Oh. Yeah, this is good. It's not always like this. This is,
I don't always lose them either.
Stewie always. One of the questions we get a lot out here is sort of about drags. So where do we set our drags? We want them set that the fish can pull out line, but we also want a little bit of tension on there in case they come up and hit it super hard. What we'll do is we'll tighten that drag up just a little bit. And so that's sort of a good tension right there. You can sort of see how much tension it takes. So this one's set really nicely here, and you just tighten it up a little bit. No, that's loosening it. Tightening it up a little bit. And this is something that we're doing every day. When we come out here, that one's loose. So what I'll do is I'll just tighten that one up a little bit, and that's sort of where you want it. I'm going to show you how to tie up a leader that we're using, cut plug leader. A couple tools that you're going to need when you're tying these leaders. This is 30-pound Maxima that we use just on a bulk spool. A pair of clippers, gammy hooks. These are 4/0. This is a 100-pack. They're not cheap, but they're definitely worth it. In terms of quality and for getting hooks into fish, those are the best. Set of pliers. Pliers go pretty quick out here. They get rusted pretty quick, and then leader board to keep your stuff on. So everyone is going to do it a little bit different, but what I usually do is I usually do a wingspan and then half a wingspan, and that's sort of, I know that I'm going to be in good shape for a leader length. You don't want them too long. You get a leader that's too long, the fish becomes harder to net. So you get a super long leader, it'll be you get the swivel up, you get the weight up, and then you got this fish swimming around. So that's sort of a good length. Every leader that we tie is 2 hooks, and you can tie different types of leaders. There's guys that will fish a stinger hook. You can put a treble hook on it. That's sort of what we're fishing there, just 2 gammies. First thing that we always do is we crimp the barbs on them. So barbs on the gammies always got to be crimped. Anytime you're saltwater salmon fishing here in BC, you need to fish with barbless hooks. The way that I tie them is not the fastest. There's actually a faster way of tying them, but my hands are so used to tying them this way that I can't really do it any other way. As I'll start off by putting that line through there, and that's just gonna sit on the back of the hook. And I pinch it with my left hand, and then I start wrapping this line over. I usually do like, I don't know, 9-10 wraps. And then I take the end of the leader. This is the line, this is the end that's gonna go tie on my swivel. That's gonna go through the eye of the hook like this. And I'm just gonna pull it through and give myself a little bit of a loop like there. Pinch that whole thing, and then what I start doing with this is I start wrapping it over the line. Hopefully you guys can see that. I'll wrap it twice, I pull the leader through, I wrap it 2 more times, pull the leader through, then I'll put a little extra pressure on it. It's gonna look a little something like that. Hopefully that's in focus and you can see it, but that's sort of what the first hook looks like. That's your trailer hook. That's gonna be the hook that's in the back. And then what I do is I take my clippers, and there's always gonna be a little tag end. And this tag end, if you leave the tag end on, it gets a little harder to get into the meat of the herring. So what I'll do is I'll go and clip that nice and tight. So that's my trailer hook. And then I'm gonna tie my tow hook, the second gammy, and I pull that just through the same way. And then you kind of want to give yourself a little bit of distance. You don't want a super long leader like this, because then you'll have a bunch of line hanging off your herring. You also don't want it too short, then this trailer hook's going to be too close to the front of the herring. This is the same thing. You're going to pinch that line like that, wrap it over. I take the end that's going to get tied to the swivel, pull that through, give myself that little bit of a loop, pinch that loop, and then 1, 2. I only put 2 wraps on the tow hook. I pull everything through, tighten that up here, and that's your leader. That's gonna go on leaderboard. I got a special leaderboard here for my little girl. Thank you, Louie. This is Bowie, Louie, and Mum. So this is my special leaderboard, and there's a mushroom house on the other side, which is pretty rad. And then everyone will put them on a little bit differently, but what I do with mine, 2 hooks in here. I'll kind of slide them over on a little bit of an angle so I get that loop on that side. You can kind of see on this one sort of where all the loops are. Nice clean board. And then I wrap that one up. It's all done. I'll just take my clippers, clean that little section up. So quick to tie. It takes a little practice. So if you tying them yourself, it's kind of nice. It's a nice way to do it up here, just because you get the hook quality and you get the line quality. If you buy store-bought leaders, that's fine. But just in terms of the quality of what we're doing out here every day, nice to have a little bit higher end quality leaders. You never know when the next 50 pounder is going to bite.